Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Tough Love Podcast. This is Ryan Ginn, and I'm here with my brother Luke Adler. And we're going to get right into a core common reflex that exists in every man, probably every woman. They're in some form or another as well. But we know the male experience very well, and that is the reflex to want to leave the marriage, leave the relationship when she does that thing that is just really insane to you, super threatening, puts you in a place of like, oh my God, I'm with this woman, and I I might have to be with them for like an indefinite period of time. It freaks you out. You, in the midst of it, you start wondering like, what, where's the exit door here? And so we want to start with normalizing. That is a real experience. I still periodically have that experience 20 years into my marriage. And it's not obviously not I'm aware of it. I don't follow it. I don't indulge in it, so to speak. But I thought it would be we thought it would be really worthwhile really breaking it down and describing how we deal with that experience and support you to form your own way of accepting and integrating that, which is usually, understandably, a shadow aspect of self. We don't want to bring, obviously, we don't want to accept that. We don't want to bring that forward. Yeah, periodically, I feel like leaving my wife. That's just something like stand-up comedians say, but it's real.
I think I saw a clip from Esther Perel recently where she was giving like a TED talk and she asked an audience, how many people here occasionally think of being with someone else, leaving, and like most of the room raised their hand. This is the first thing we want to state is that this is a very normal thing to think, to ponder, to consider. Wow, maybe this isn't the right fit. Maybe I just can't handle this level of intensity. This is too much. And I know my wife's thought this, I've thought that as well. We were just on a vacation with our kids abroad, and when we arrived, um, there was a problem with our Airbnb, and there were several problems with the Airbnb, and my wife just couldn't let it go. She was pissed off, and I was just so excited to be in this new country, be with my girls, be with her. Her parents came too. So I was just filled with gratitude, that we worked hard to be able to afford a vacation. And my wife was just stuck on how shitty this Airbnb situation was. And I was like, let's go walk the streets and go have an amazing meal and look at the culture and speak the language. We were in a Latin American culture and we all speak Spanish. So it was really an exciting experience. And she was stuck. She couldn't let it go. She was texting the Airbnb host and trying to call, and then she was on with Airbnb trying to manage. And this went on for 24 hours. And my like uplifted, gratitude-filled self just started to like a little bit of like deflation started to occur in myself. And I was losing the euphoria of this amazing experience. And for me, the line inside of myself that was being crossed is the most important thing in this moment is that we're together and that we're having a new experience as a family. And then from my point of view, my wife had totally lost sight of that. She was nowhere near that. She was stuck on trying to remediate this situation with the Airbnb. And then I started to get pissed off and really angry and upset. And I was still being patient, I was still being kind and trying to kind of move her out of the situation and it wasn't happening. Um, and then I got angry and I let her know. And um, I come back and she's she's still stuck on the whole situation. And I'm sitting there watching this all play out like I'm an educator of men around couples and marriage and seeing my own pattern to want to have her change. And I started to get she's in this experience, she's committed to it, she's not changing. And the only choice I had was how I was going to be in that moment. I was thinking, wow, maybe this is like this is a sign that, I don't know if I can be with someone who's this stuck in a situation like this. So it started to occur to me, what kind of presence would I have to bring to allow freedom and peace to come into this experience right now? And the first thing I had to do was accept that she was in this state rather than fight it, or rather than try to gratitude shame her, try to motivate her into a mood of gratitude. Because I tried all that. The first thing I needed to do was just accept this is what's happening, and this is the experience that she's having and choosing to have, per se. There was clearly just a big movement of energy that she needed this to happen in this particular way. I was like, okay. Once I got past my anger and my frustration, I could accept that this needed to happen. This needed to happen for her. And I started to touch into this place of, even though it wasn't what I valued and what I wanted, it was important for her to go through this. It was important for her to make a big deal about it. And in fact, the more I pushed against it, the worse it got. And within the within 24 hours, I started to feel like there's another move here to make as a husband that I've never made before, where I accept the thing that I abhor. I accept the thing that drives me fucking nuts about her. I fully accept it. I embrace it. And in the radical sense, I even love it. And I started to think about that as like a very saintly thing to do. Because I could see this is the moment that would make someone leave their marriage, be like, she is fucked up. This is not okay. If anyone I knew saw this, they'd be like, Luke, you gotta check out. This is bullshit. And no, there's another move to make. There's another move to make when this happens. And it's not all of that enculturated stuff around how she should be or I should be. It's this radical kind of acceptance of what's happening and my capacity to get big enough to allow it to happen, not passively, not shutting down, not, being a nice guy, but being fully awake to the storm that's activated and just supporting it to just flow through the family system with lots of awareness. So I'll pause there, Ryan, and have you add some color to that.
Oh, it's already quite colorful. I mean, I see it, and my mind goes to my own, moments like that. And I mean, I can feel the ra like that's the best word to describe that state. It feels radical, and maybe just to expound on that, at why it does. I see it as feeling so radical because and so challenging because I believe there's a part in all of us that really fears that if I accept this, if I allow this, it will it will just continue endlessly, or the next time we're in a situation that if I don't make sure I hold a stance that says, this kind of behavior is really not okay, then it's going to perpetuate itself. And what you're describing, kind of saint mode, is more of like it's a non-dualistic, non-confrontive state of radical, like, curiosity and love. Like,
Yeah.
what happens? Because as you described your process, you know what happens when you when you confront it, when you start to say, I need you to just get over this.
Yeah.
So you completely let go of that. But what happens when you're big enough to allow it to go where it wants to go and not make it a problem? And she, just to bring in a little attachment theory here, right? I mean, like her brain is, relating to you as a sort of parental, in her cosmology, right? Like, this is what we do. We are reenacting early childhood experiences with our partner, and that is a very trippy kind of phenomena
Yeah.
that's happening. You know, so what is going on in that respect? Is she wanting to be able to have this kind of experience, this almost adult tantrum of sorts around something, and to have it be okay and have it be like, yeah, you're pissed, and you're validly pissed, and I don't have a problem with it. I'm not scared of it. I'm not even irritated. I'm just sitting here big and loving and curious about it all and trusting that it'll move through because I trust that you're wise and capable and you're doing something valid here. I don't know exactly what it is, but I trust it. Call that what you will, but it's certainly not an ordinary state of consciousness. Call it saintly consciousness, or sort of non-dual, you know, but it's a different kind of mode to engage. How do we how anything else we could coach the men out there? I mean, because it's the path is not it's not clear. I mean, it's something obviously, we don't all you don't I don't yeah, I don't think you do, right? Have a direct access to that in any given moment. But I'm just wondering if there's any other kind of breadcrumbs we could throw down.
I think as you and I start to flesh this out, Ryan, what I'm starting to see and sense, as I share and listen to you, is that when you have a daughter and a wife, I have two daughters and a wife, when the women in my life are in a true storm, not a complaint or kind of whining, but they're in an emotional experience that just needs to run its course. Um, the moment for me is maybe I'll test that out, like, hey, cut it out, or what's going on, honey? Why are you acting this way? Maybe I'm testing the storm a little bit to be like, is
Mm.
this a storm that needs to run through the system, or is this just a a mood, that's just here and gone? And I think even if I look at my daughters, if there's something that they really need to move through their body, it's much better if I go into this. Maybe we call it flow mode or saint. I don't know. We're coining this out. What's this mode where oh, this energy needs to move through the system. If I fight it, it's going to linger longer. It's going to get even bigger. And that's what I'm starting to understand from the way you're describing it, what I've been going through. These were big, um, conditioned moments that my wife was hitting. Her parents were down there too. So there was a lot of generational refraction occurring in uh, some of her desires and her standards and stuff that my daughters were going through too. And I think the whole trip really started to teach me, oh wait, I need to back down here. And there were moments I needed to step in. So it wasn't just this move of just kind of going into witness consciousness or beginner's mind. It was this attunement to what's needed here and making the move, and then maybe making the move to step back or to step forward or to kind of, yeah, I think the question you and I pondered is what is the degree, what is the vibration, what is the flavor of compassion that's needed in this moment to allow things to flow. And that degree could be changing every couple minutes. It's not just like, oh, okay, set point to 78 degrees. That's the remediation. No, it's okay, let's bring some intensity. Let's bring it down. Let's have it be softer. It's a real dynamic situation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
As you're laying that out, I was kind of inner chuckle happening because I was just came back from my vacation down in Arizona too, and lot of feelings happening always, right? I mean, and I just thought of this phrase like the fallacy of vacation with women or something, right? That that needs to be exposed, like you know, recognize that there's a part of us that wants, of course, wants to be able to be on vacation, right? Like, in other words, wants to not have to be doing what you're describing, a tuning and, you know, you know, feeling into what's going on and being
Uh,
a steady presence for the emotions that are flowing and all that. It's just like, can I just sit by the pool and read my
that's
book?
that's right.
Fallacy. Just understandable desire, but utter, complete and utter fallacy that you can have that. In fact, it's really getting in the way. It's going to create a compounded catastrophe if you don't just lay that aside because they need you to be there when they need you to be there and to be there in a way that's not like, oh, what is it? What is it now?
That's so bad.
Really? Really?
Uh,
We're on we're it's perfectly sunny out. You got a pool. I paid a lot for this place. Just just sit back and appreciate it. We're on vacation. Can you
we go
just
on
chill out so we
we
can
went on
enjoy
this we,
ourselves?
we went on the same vacation, it sounds like. Yeah, God. Oh,
And how much is that also operate? I just kind of wonder on a day-to-day basis, right? Like this so understandable place in us. It's like, can you just stop with the
yeah,
big feelings and the
right.
issues we're fatigued, I think, I mean, to be real about it, I can feel that place. Obviously, I can feel that place in me
Yeah.
that has that, but it's a dangerous place to
Yeah.
allow to take over, to get into that justified irritation that many
Yeah.
that many men and fathers and husbands walk through. Like, I'm doing all this and you're still, and they just throw around their dismissive
Ugh,
responses. I've done it, and I just know and am committed to, obviously, like, not letting that be the norm
right.
and correcting myself, and because I see it immediately, right? And when I throw out those dismissive comments, I see the with my daughter, she's so good at just being like increasingly up, like, angry, and she's really teaching me how important it is to get at the core valid feeling that's happening. I don't get to be just like, just get over it. We're doing great. You're so lucky.
Oh God. We're hitting against some core adaptations here. And I think as you say that, it makes me think of how much my mind just wants to automate all of my life, automate issues, automate problems, automate moods that my partner and daughters have. And it just clearly does not work that way. I can't set a computer program into the family that just manages. It's a living, vital organism that is just utterly responsive. And it's actually astonishing, to see my daughters and my wife just continue to grow. And in some ways, I can see my resistance to it and my desire for it to just be predictable is my own desire for comfort, for ease, and to not have to, really show up. Just all these adages that you just said, be grateful, we're here, you're so lucky, we're privileged. It's like, sure, that's true, but that's totally not useful in this particular moment, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's coming from, like I've said before at different times, that very human force of and drive of energy preservation. That's
Yeah,
it's our
yeah,
main
that's
drive,
right.
right?
It
We
is.
don't want to have to deal with this demand to
Yes.
expend energy, and which is what it is to access empathy, curiosity, theory of mind of this other person. It feels like, oh, it's really, this is what we want to normalize.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It is like you're just you're walking in a park, and then someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, deadlift 250 down now."
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, really? What? Why? What do I
That's
have? It's a demand for an energy expenditure that you don't want to have to do.
that's a great analogy, Ryan. That's totally brilliant because that's how it feels at an emotional level. It feels like a 250 lift and you're not warmed up. I'm not warmed up. I'm like, fuck, I'm not warmed up right now. I don't want to I
And
don't
you
my
sound like that. You sound all whiny. Like, no, I don't want to. Like this is
Yeah.
the initial inner reflex, and it's
Ah,
not going away, right?
yeah.
This is what we're trying to disseminate, right? We don't want to give you a bunch of platitudes that are just going to not match the reality of your life living with women, particular, living with any other person, honestly, because every
Yeah.
other person is a close person is looking at you and saying, "Hey, do you care? Do you want to know what's happening for me? Do you stop automating me? I don't like it. It hurts." And what are you gonna? What's your response? Right? It's I want to. It's easier. Just let me. Is that's how like in a nutshell? I mean, that's how all divorces play out, basically, right? I
Why
don't
does
want to
everything
have
have
to
to be
learn
so
you. I don't
hard?
want to have to learn how to handle you and work with you and help you feel seen and heard and loved. I don't want. I don't want. It's too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hate you. Why do you hate me? Well, because you don't, right? You don't see and you're not trying. You're not expending the effort.
Ugh.
So we are trying to walk that back and name it
Yeah.
with some toughness, but with also all the compassion, understanding we can at the same time.
And just to emphasize what you just said, God, this is so good. But yeah, women feel this way about us. 100%. This goes both ways in our marriage. Absolutely, this is happening. So, because I know a lot of women listen to this podcast, just we're not throwing you under the bus. We do the same shit. Just just so we're evening it out.
Oh, totally, right?
Yeah.
I mean, right, we're throwing, but we're probably worse, right? Because we're so passive about it. We're so like,
Yeah.
I'm fine. Like, are you really? You look like you're just seething with resentment and disgruntled, like disgruntledness,
Oh,
and they have to guess and and do all that.
it's the
No, like,
worst.
and we want the same thing. We want effort. We want
Yeah.
some level of we want no, we want a significant amount of attunement and and women are challenged by the same force of wanting to automate us and wanting us to be easier and you know so this is our human predicament.
I think the mode that we want to offer when we started this, when we were Ryan and I were talking about this pod, what it's going to be about, talked about this phrase called saint mode. But I think we want to offer two modes here. One is saint mode and one is suffer mode. And that is to say, when this occurs in your marriage, in your committed relationship, and you know where it's going to go. She has a storm running through her body, and if you fight it, it's just going to make it bigger or worse. It needs to run its course. Saint mode is recognizing that this has to happen, and it's an energetic movement that's happening in the family system. It's not, this isn't a point of view where you're debating what's right or wrong. And I feel like this is where we go wrong all the time, particularly as men, is we want to give her logic and reason to show her what the right emotional response would be. It doesn't fucking work. You need to stop doing it. That's the tough love for you. She's not in the mood to be grateful for right now. She just needs to be pissed. That's what needs to happen, or upset, or sad. And so Saint Mode is backing off on the strategy on how to fix and ameliorate this and getting big enough to hold all the love and care that's needed for this to flow through the system. And there might be some time at the end where you come in with, yeah, let's have some gratitude and whatever. But it's about recognizing the timing of when to come in and give some advice or give some coaching, right? Usually, I think what this reminds me of the most is when we're doing a really deep piece of therapeutic work, like with a client or when we're on a weekend with our men's group. There's a therapeutic thing that's occurring in the system and it needs to reach its peak, its zenith, and it needs to descend. And if you interrupt that process, it creates tremendous aggravation in the system. And
Mhm.
I mean, as professional therapists, healers, physicians, we know that this is how it works. So you have to allow that to occur and then to descend. So there's a kind of saintly quality to it. Suffer mode is when that's happening. She's suffering, right? Suffer mode is recognizing when that's happening for me as a man. I'm suffering and I'm in pain and allowing that storm to come through me too. Because we know you can't be in Satan mode all the time. You can't even do it a lot of the time. You're going to do it occasionally. This is our aspiration for ourselves and hopefully for you out there listening, is that you recognize the storm and you become the space of loving allowance for that storm to move. But it's difficult to do it all the time. If you can do this 10% of the time, I bow to your lotus feet. That is fantastic. That's aspirational. Also recognizing when you're having a hard time, bringing that forward, letting her letting her find her saintliness to be with you, to allow you to have an experience of something that's painful, it's difficult, needs to happen, right? This is this teaching, this kind of mini course in this podcast is is for the extremes. It's for the extremes of our moods, of the big lessons that we all are here to learn that are going to manifest through our partners' bodies, through our own bodies, through the bodies of our children. And recognizing that when something big like this is happening, we need to allow it. We need to allow it to flow and be the kind of guardrails and safety around it so that this can occur in the most expeditious, efficient, loving way possible.
Yes. And retrace our steps. That's often going to require your initial acceptance and almost self-validation to the part of you that's like, oh my God, I don't want to have to deal with this. Why? Or is there some way out of this? And just to know you're in good company, right? That's going to arise in you,
Yeah.
and you're going to have to move through it and recognize that you're not here. So if you've listened to us long, I mean, and if you want to continue to listen to us, you know, you're not here to find some magic bullet, some pathway to an just super easy marriage. You're actually here, to learn how to be a robust and strong, successful leader in relationship that is not dissuaded and uh, by big feelings, big emotions coming in your direction, big needs. you're rolling up your sleeve, you're learning, you're committed to, you're aspiring to roll up your sleeves and what does this have to teach me? How can I learn to work with this effectively? And that's a different switch to turn on because it's not going to be the one that is got hardwired into your brain. That one is like, how do I get out of this?
Yeah.
How do I do the least amount of effort necessary so I can get back to my book or, the thing I want to do? That's the one.
That
That's the
podcast.
automatic. Yeah. Yeah.
I need to record a podcast with Ryan right now. God damn.
Okay. You're messing up my vibe.
One thing I want to emphasize that you've been saying, we haven't said it totally directly yet. This is another hard truth. Tough Love podcast. She's behaving in a way, I'll use a colloquialism here, that occurs to you like she's crazy. Just to be fair, you do that too. Just to be clear, I do that too. She's behaving in a way that appears not sane. And you are right. She is right. As we engage in deep committed relationships, we come up against parts of our being, aspects of our identity structure that aren't very developed, that are very young, that aren't stable, so to speak. They're not incredibly organized and efficient and sophisticated. They're unsure. They're chaotic. They are polarized. They're not diagnosable things. There's spaces within our own being that are as such. And so it behooves us to not make it a problem, to not make it a massive issue, to not make it something we need to medicate when this kind of behavior comes forward. Now, if it's there all the time, or if it's there 90% of the time, that's a different discussion for a psych, a psychiatric practitioner. In the work we're talking about is those extreme infrequent moments. Maybe it occurs once a month. Maybe it occurs twice a month, right? We're not necessarily putting standards on it in this podcast, but it's those moments where, yeah, this is too much. This doesn't seem normal. This doesn't seem right. You're right. It isn't. It's not normal. It is abnormal. We all have that. Each one of us, even the most evolved amongst us. I have seen quote unquote spiritual teachers at the very highest levels behave in ways that are abhorrent. It's like, how could this be? And there's kind of another discussion around what that's about. But everyone has it. Everyone has no one is fully developed in every line of their being to this perfected state. That is the delusion and the illusion of the child looking for the perfect parent. If you've lived long enough, you know, doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. And what's beautiful about saint mode, this is really the core of it, is we accept that. We accept that there's just parts of myself and my wife, etc., that just they're just not fully developed, and that's beautiful, and it's okay, and we're celebrating it, and we're just getting love. We're generating enough love to be with that part of our partner and not make it such a fucking problem that they need to shut it down and lock it up and fucking button it up and be a perfect woman all makeuped out. It's like, no, that's not tough love. It's not offensive love. It's not what we're about. We're not about perpetuating the 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 kind of masquerade of what love is. That's not what Ryan and I teach. We're not teaching how to behave or take on a mood of how to be in your relationship. This isn't about making a mood or having a certain high vibe. No, it's about accepting the darkest parts, right? The youngest parts, the most unstable parts of ourselves and each other. This is the core of what we're here to teach. How do you become the vibration that can be with that?
Hmm.
not make it a problem. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that in any of us.
Hmm. And that is a different way to be in relationship than you've been taught, if you've even really been taught about how to be in relationship, but taught through modeling and storybook fantasies of what relationship is. And we appreciate you willing to learn, to listen to this, to look at your patterns and to try something different. We're all here on this journey together, tripping, falling, getting ourselves back up, trying it again, learning how to love. But it is an active process. It's never ending, and you need company. And we're here for you. And there's others that are on the path as well. And please join us for our courses, beingmen.net, so we can accelerate the learning and decelerate the suffering and discontent. All right. Till next time, everyone.